AmericaFirst.com to apply for pre-approval of your low-rate auto loan today. Eligibility, terms, conditions, and creditworthiness apply. Subject to change. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Seriously, this is what my money is doing. Playing games? Right now, Nicole's money is remodeling her kitchen.
I don't know how to do that.
Nicole said it's easy. She just called America First Credit Union and got a fantastic rate on a home equity loan.
No!
I'm calling America First.
Get your money working. Visit AmericaFirst.com and get a 0.25% discount on our low-rate home equity loans. Subject to eligibility, terms, conditions, and property criteria. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Premium checking from America First Credit Union. Learn more at AmericaFirst.com.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
You've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I enjoy his measured approach to things.
A very balanced view.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Restrictions still in place for high-profile vehicles. You cannot travel I-80 past Lake Point either direction. Heavy and slow southbound I-15 Murray through Draper. Mark?
It has been very rough coming up Park City on US 40, struggling SR 248. That's Kearns Boulevard to the freeway I-80. And locally, you got some trouble on southbound I-15 in Utah County around 5th East American Fork. Steve.
Hey, we're crash-free. Freeway speeds on both directions of I-15 tonight between Salt Lake and Brigham City. A bunch of brake lights remain, though, on southbound 89 through Uinta. All clear on Legacy 215, the West Davis Highway, and I-84 in Weber Canyon. Put the equity in your home to work with a home equity line of credit and get 6.49% APR for the first 6 months. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Steve Carlson at the KSL Traffic Center.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the nines. We're going down to 54 degrees overnight. Showers are expected through the night, and in fact, tomorrow morning as well. They could show up tomorrow afternoon with a high temperature only around 67 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good evening, 6 o'clock, KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan, KSL's top local story this hour. We've been covering a handful of high-profile child abuse cases this year, but turns out they're only a fraction of the thousands that DCFS has addressed this year. We have the numbers. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera here.
Utah's Department of Child and Family Services revealed they've investigated over 48,000 reports of neglect or abuse of a child in the last year, with 6,000 of them requiring further investigation. Lawmakers questioned their accountability process, which prompted the presentation from their director, Tanya Myra.
There are several processes, both internal and external to DCFS, that exist for the purposes of ensuring the child welfare system provides quality outcomes to children and families.
The presentation also said 91% of victims who received intervention from DCFS did not experience further abuse. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 6:01. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Secret Service is on the defensive again after the assassination attempt at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. While it is being investigated as a possible attempted assassination, Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe says the suspect's in custody and could have only guessed Mr. Trump's movements.
It wasn't part of his schedule, so there was no posting up of it because he wasn't supposed to have gone there in the first place.
The FBI is investigating a 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh was able to get so close to the former president's estate. KSL News Time 6:02, and coming up, colder and wetter weather ahead. The details are up next. KSL News Time 6:02.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Stay warm and worry-free this winter with Gillette Services. Call 385-GET-HEAT now.
A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
KSL News Time 6:04. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Let's go to the traffic center.
Well, we do have Salt Lake City PD clearing 2 crashes downtown. One at 7th East, 100 South. The other one at West Temple and 9th South. We also have the final clearing of a crash northbound I-15 in Draper at 123rd South over to the left. It's still causing a little bit of busy backup in the area and spots of heavy and slow traffic southbound I-15. That's scattered between the South Interchange through Draper. Join Lagoon's maintenance and construction team for the most thrilling job around. Lagoon is looking for exceptional ride technicians, skilled carpenters, electricians, plumbers, and more. Apply online at lagoonpark.com/jobs. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL weather forecast. We're expecting showers overnight. There could be some more rain tomorrow morning, and in fact, lingering chance of showers tomorrow afternoon. The high temperature only 67 degrees, but right now 79 and breezy in Salt Lake City. I'm Jeff Kaplan, KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Handoff middle. First down. Touchdown. And listen to the Cougar Nation.
Every Monday night, we break down the Cougars' last game and look ahead to next week. Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Good evening, Cougar Nation. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. We're coming to you live from Broadcast House in Salt Lake City. BYU football is 3-0. Can you believe it? A team that had only predictions about 4 wins. They've already got to 3 wins, 3-0 on the 2024 season. And we want to hear from you, Cougar Nation, on what this 3-0 start means. What gives you confidence this year's 3-0 start for BYU football will lead to more success in the Big 12 play? We'll discuss that, Matt, but loaded show for you tonight as the Cougs get a win on the Front Range.
You know the drill, Cougar Nation, 801-575-8255. You can text us as well. 57500. Chime in on our question of the day or any thoughts about this 3-0 BYU football team. Like we do every single Monday night, Mitch, let's start things off with our takeaways from the win on the plains of Laramie.
Cougar Nation takeaways. Mitch and Matt analyze BYU's last week of play and what it means for the next week.
I'll start things off, Mitch. Lot to take away from this game. 34-14. I would have loved if it was 41-14. I was hoping they would let Gary throw a touchdown pass on that final drive. Did not happen. That's fine. I'm nitpicking a little. 34-14, still a solid win. I thought the passing game bounced back in a big way, Mitch. Jake almost throws for 300 yards, 22 of 36. Quarterback rating of 151. You throw in his 62 yards rushing as well, which could have been 100 if there wasn't a questionable hold call on that 40-yard scamper in the middle of the game. We're talking about almost a 400-yard total yard performance for Jake. But it was the passing that I felt needed to improve because against SMU, it took a big step back. And they can't pass like they did against the Mustangs and be a good football team. If you can pass for high 200s, low 300s, you've got a chance to upset some people this year. I really liked how the passing game improved this week.
That's one of my takeaways, too, is that Jake did improve just collectively, the passing game, but also on the ground with his ball security. Kalani said, don't lose the stinking football or whatever it was, paraphrasing, and he didn't. He didn't put it on the turf. But I will say, Jake, when it came to passing the football, he did have some close calls.
Yep.
And a little bit too close for comfort at times in the first half. But, he was resilient. I kind of wonder, though, Wyoming might be worse than Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
They are pretty bad. And that might be the worst Wyoming football team I've ever seen assembled. And I remember those years in the Mount West, but they treated them like they were a bad football team. Even Chase Roberts in the postgame said they probably should have won 60-0. So they felt like they maybe missed out on some opportunities. But I do believe Jake performed well in that game, and he himself said he had some fun in Laramie.
Oh, it was a super fun place to play. Actually, I liked the stadium. I liked the environment. Hostile, of course, but that's what you get on the road no matter what. We did a good job getting out front early, so we didn't have to hear the worst of it. I think that's key on the road. But, yeah, I think it was a cool environment to play in. I like the stadium. Laramie grew on me a little bit this weekend.
Hey. That's kind of him.
Yeah, great.
Did not grow on me.
Hey, these kind of road trips are always more enjoyable when you just handily beat a team. Yes. There's really not a whole lot to be discouraged about. You came in, did what you needed to do, won comfortably, and moved on. Good for this BYU football team. Kalani, Mitch, thought that the team improved from one week to the next. I thought the same thing.
Happy we're 3-0, and proud of the team. Thought the energy, effort, all the stuff that we want from our guys showed up, and it didn't go perfectly, but some really good things to work on and some really good things to get better. I feel like we got better from last week to this week, and looking forward to making an improvement from this week to the next.
Did this interview happen because you were there under an underpass? Was this on I-80?
Yeah, the cowboy rifle in the background. No, that was it was like a wrestling mat getting unfoiled. It was in the old basketball arena for Wyoming, their auditorium. But yes, the audio, the sound environment for that was not the best in Laramie. But hey, the accommodations, they were what they were.
My next takeaway, and this might be a deep cut because there's a lot of directions to go. You could go defensively, where they held Wyoming to 217 yards, although the third down conversion percentage not quite as good as I would have liked. 7 of 18 for the Pokes. Would have loved that to have been maybe sub 30% because BYU's third down percentage. And this is a problem. We don't need to dwell on the problems because you won 34-14, but 2 of 11? I know that they had a couple fourth down conversions as well, but that's not good enough, Mitch, when it comes to Big 12 play. However, back to the positive takeaways. Pokai Haunga, wow, that dude really popped in the running game. Miles Davis couldn't get anything going, 8 of 15. Jake was running well, which is great, but you need some kind of compliment. I like Sione Moa as well, but Pokai had a next level, and I loved his shiftiness. He reminded me a little bit of Falau Rapati when he's in the open field. Those are the only two guys on this roster from a running back perspective, Mitch, that can sharp cut and make people miss. I thought he brought a nice new element to this running game, and I feel like you got to play this dude more because he is capable of busting off an explosive play at any given moment.
I agree. It's just unfortunate that he has to play because, man, BYU has been banged up. Enoch Nawahine was going through pregame warmups. He was suited up, and then he's not playing. And then he's banged. Come to find out, he got banged up in practice last week. And BYU has had to dig into their depth. The pecking order was Miles Davis, Sione Aimoa, and then Pokai Honga. So you're talking about the 6th-string running back. Pokai looking like a stud. And, I think they ideally wanted to redshirt him this season, but that is clearly not an option. And his talent, you're right. He did show some good flashes, and he was involved in that trick play where you have to have a lot of confidence. And when you toss it back to Jake to make that play happen, you better know your assignment. You better know what to do. And he did, and he came out with a lot of confidence. He was not fazed by the moment. So Pokai definitely showed well. He's a name to keep an eye on for BYU going forward. My other takeaway was Jack Kelly just continues to live to all of the hype that was given to him in the preseason. He was the only guy with a sack. That was a little bit, maybe, I don't know if it's, discouraging, only finishing with 1 sack. But Sabota, the Wyoming quarterback, he could escape the pocket. But Jack Kelly's outstanding. And even Mel Kiper from ESPN, longtime NFL draft analyst, he said, quote, today, BYU outside linebacker Jack Kelly was relatively unknown in August, but he's quickly rising up NFL draft boards as I have him 5th at the outside linebacker position after 3 weeks. 5th outside linebacker, you're talking what? Top into the third?
Yeah, 2nd or 3rd, late 2nd, early 3rd.
And you know what? Jack Kelly's speed and measurables and size and his versatility gives him a chance to be a legit NFL draft prospect. Jack Kelly's stock continues to rise.
A lot to break down from the 34-14 win. We've asked you, Cougar Nation, what gives you confidence for this year's 3-0 start for BYU football, and will it lead to more success in Big 12 play? Of course, this question of the day and this show, Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank, voted best bank and mortgage in Utah Valley. Visit us online at cbutah.com. Mitch, we already got a text, then we'll get out to the phone line, but Texter 1557, they will go 3-9. The first 3 games were patsies.
Not a chance. BYU will not go 3-9. Look, the Big 12's solid, but look, the top of the Big 12, right now the top teams are Oklahoma State, Utah, Kansas State, Iowa State. All 4 of those teams have had moments where they look very beatable, including K-State, and we'll get to that game come up a little bit later this hour, but all of them. Like there's no team in this league that I've watched, and I've watched all 16 of them at some points this season, and I say, oh my gosh, how does BYU hang with those guys? Not once. And I think that's the nice thing about this league. Now, will BYU stay healthy? They've already been testing the running back unit, but this league, anything can happen every week, and we see this all the time in college football. 1 week Notre Dame's losing to Northern Illinois, and then they just put up a 66-piece on Purdue on the road. And college football is just an isolated 1-week deal now, it feels like. It no longer is it like, okay, what you've known and seen the last 3 weeks is going to carry over to this game. No, I think that every week you better be locked in. You better be dialed in your scout and executing at a high level. You can't just assume that something's going to happen. Now, look, BYU, could they lose all 9 games? Maybe, I guess, but I highly doubt it. BYU's going to pull off some upsets, but they're also probably going to be upset as well at stretches. I still think BYU is probably a 6-win team right now, and we'll discuss more of our thoughts on how this rest of the season plays out, but this team is better, and I think that's what's exciting coming out of this 3-0 start is that you are seeing evidence that this team is so much better than what they were through the first 3 games last season.
801-575-8255. Give us a call, Cougar Nation. What gives you confidence in this 3-0 start? You can chime in on Jake Retzlaff as well. Did he show something in that Wyoming game that makes you feel better about him being the quarterback going forward? Let's take a break, Mitch. On the other side, we'll get to some of your calls, some of your texts on 57500, and we'll keep breaking down the BYU win against Wyoming.
When your financial institution thinks you're awesome, they treat you that way. So let me introduce you to a whole lot of awesome. Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Hercules First Federal Credit Union delivers an awesome idea, Gold Tier Checking. Nice name, but what does it really mean? The list is long, but here's just a sample. With Gold Tier Checking, you enjoy free checking along with a new promo rate of 4.25% on balances in your checking account. You can earn points for travel with everyday spending and earn points every time you use your debit card. In fact, up to 3 times the points on certain categories like groceries. Oh, and there's no monthly fees. None. Now you know why they say Hercules First Federal Credit Union is all about customer care. Discover awesomeness at HerculesCU.com, offering high-quality service and products since 1946. HerculesCU.com. Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. All accounts insured to $250,000 by NCUA.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com for more information.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb. Hey pet parents, with Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles," but as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
There's a lot on the line this election. Your vote is your way to make your voice heard. Based on polling from AARP, Americans 50 and over decide elections. That means you have the power to make the candidates listen and take action on what matters to you. Things like protecting the Social Security you've worked hard for and making sure family caregivers get the support they need. But you have to cast your vote to have your say. That's why AARP Utah has created an election guide with the most up-to-date information about when, where, and how to vote. You can find out about all the key voting deadlines, changes to polling places, and how to cast your ballot. Make sure the candidates hear from you. Get trusted, up-to-date election information at aarp.org/UT votes. That's aarp.org/UT votes. Paid for by AARP.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
How many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for Traffic and Weather Together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
We're taking your calls. What gives you confidence this 3-0 start for BYU football will lead to more success in Big 12 play? It's brought to you, Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Thanks for having them on board this year. 3-0. Again, BYU has done a really nice job throughout the Kalani era of starting strong. But, Mitch, what gives you confidence this 3-0 start is going to be different?
This defense is one of the best in the Big 12, and that's what gives me all the confidence in the world that this will be a team that gets to a bowl game. I do believe that. This will be a team that goes bowling. They go to the postseason, and maybe they get to 7. I still have my questions at quarterback, and I know that there's a Pro Football Focus grade, and everyone just uses those as the ultimate authority on everything that just evaluates players now is PFF grades. And look, I use them too. I look at them as a point of reference, but it's one data point. It's one source, and they've had weeks where they miss players completely, and it's miscategorized by uniform number. But they're looking at Jake Retzlaff's number, and you go, okay, that's one of the best quarterback ratings among Power 4 QBs. But that first half, there was feelings of like, there were media in the War Memorial Stadium booth watching the sideline of Gary Bohannon because he was throwing the football a little bit. Now, for some context, watching him throw the football, it didn't feel at any point like this was a guy that's getting ready to go in. It almost just felt like, I'm bored. I'm ready to just kind of throw the ball. And it didn't feel like, ooh, this is happening. He's going in. It didn't feel like that to me. That's why I didn't make it a big, blast on social media. But still, it was kind of like, Jake's having some close calls here. Do they turn to Gary? And it was interesting, too, and producer Nate probably heard it as well in War Memorial Stadium because he was there. But when Gary did go in for the last drive, there was this loud roar from Cougar fans. It's almost like, thank you, our quarterback is in. Like, folks, Jake is still the QB1. Please, like, I know he sometimes can get you frustrated, but he did improve. He did get better. He's just got to clean up some of those decisions where he's throwing it into double, triple coverage, and it almost is a near interception. Just get rid of that, and you have a great game. He took care of the football on the ground. I liked what Jake did, and I think it gave me some confidence, too, going into this Kansas State game, that they can take down the Wildcats who are playing at a high level right now.
For me, nothing gives me confidence that this 3-0 start is going to lead to more success in Big 12 play.
Nothing?
Nothing. Because, like the texture, I do believe the schedule is soft. And then secondly, I don't trust BYU's offense in a tight situation to continually get it done. I know they got it done against SMU a week ago, but that's SMU. Now we're talking about a top 15 team, Kansas State, coming to Provo. You got Oklahoma State. You got Utah. I don't have confidence that they're going to make enough good decisions and big plays in these games to change things. Your point on the defense, it's well taken. And they needed one side of the ball to be top 4 in the Big 12 if they wanted any chance at being a bowl team. It looks like BYU's defense could be a top 4 defensive team, and that keeps you in the games.
Yes.
With that kind of defense, you're not seeing the TCU blowout. You're not seeing other Iowa State blowout. That's not going to happen. But I don't think they're so good defensively that it means you can overcome mistakes offensively. Okay. And I'm still, because there should have been 3 picks against Wyoming. That deep ball he threw up there, was that his fault? I don't know for sure. It might have been a miscommunication with the receivers. I don't know.
It was closer to the Wyoming DBs than BYU receivers.
It should have been picked. It absolutely should have been picked off.
And just a side note, that number 2 on Wyoming, that guy was a little bit dirty.
For sure.
That dirty hit on Keanu Hill, no appreciation for that.
No.
That guy had a little bit of a attitude that embodied the whole Wyoming, Laramie. And look, I thought it was a pleasant experience. I was fine. Some choice words, clearly. You heard it on the TV broadcast. But I just had to point that out because
that's a good point.
I didn't like that. That guy was kind of gunning for Keanu Hill.
Yep.
And I hope Kibo's okay. He was rattled going into the medical tent, and hopefully he's going to be okay because stuff like that was uncalled for. And so I'm glad that guy didn't get that pick.
It's just the thing is, though, against Kansas State, is that going to be dropped?
I don't think so.
I just don't think so.
K-State's got a legit secondary.
Totally. And there was 2 or 3 other plays that probably should have been turnovers. However, I still thought his decision-making was improved. His first interception, that didn't bother me at all. It wasn't a great throw.
That's a good point.
It wasn't a great throw, but it was one-on-one. It wasn't a bad decision.
I had a bigger issue with Cody Epps being the jump ball guy.
Yes, agreed.
Like have it be Chase, have it be Darius Lasser, JoJo.
That's the next level of quarterback play where you understand those situations before. And maybe you want to pin that on A-Rod. Like, hey, if we're going to run a fade to the corner, should we run that with Chase Roberts or Darius Lassiter instead? But look, he was good. He was improved, but not enough to make me feel like this is going to lead to more success. I ultimately do think they will have more success, Mitch, because I think the team is better. I just don't believe this start, there's enough tangible stuff there to definitively say, absolutely, they're improved, they're going to win 6 or 7. I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet.
I will also add, too, what gives me optimism is I like the mindset of this team, and I know that's not really something you can measure in a box score. But I just think that this team's got a good mindset going into games where, someone goes down. Micah Harper quietly does not go, and Jacob Robinson handles the nickel spot. Now, we've quietly seen Jacob handle a lot of the nickel reps this season. Sometimes Jonathan Cabella, if there's an opportunity there where they dig into the depth, but primarily Jacob Robinson, because Micah has been banged up. He's only played 29 snaps through 3 weeks this season, but they just kind of go next man up. They don't flinch, and a lot of guys have taken snaps this year, and I do like. I don't know what this word means, but it's a cliche buzzword in football, but the culture of this team, I do like it. I like the kind of the attitude. I'm curious to see how they will respond to adversity when it does hit them, and it will at some point. But I think this team's got a good head on their shoulders where they have perspective. They're not fazed by the outside noise. They've kind of kept things isolated from within and focused on getting better themselves. And I really believe in this defense too, that they can win some games where maybe the offense only scores 18 as we saw against SMU, but it's still enough because this defense can be lights out. And I believe in them. I think that this defense, the personnel there, those cornerbacks are locked down, man. Jacob Robinson, Mark Collins. And I know there were some moments where they left some openings, and if Svoboda was accurate at all, they probably get a few more yards, but still, I like what I'm seeing from the secondary for BYU, and I think this defense can lead them to the postseason.
We're taking your calls, 801-575-8255. Let's go out to the phone line now. Our good friend Linda. What gives you confidence, Linda? This 3-0 start is going to mean more success in Big 12 play.
Absolutely, and I thought Jake did a good job, and I think he did a lot better this week, and I think he was really good, and I'm sure that we'll keep him in, that the coaches will keep him in, hopefully, and then I really liked, what was the player's name that ran right at, during the third, what was the third quarter?
Keelan Marion, the kickoff return touchdown?
Yeah. He was great, I thought too, and that was just so neat. And then I thought it was right to give Gary the chance at the end to score the last touchdown, to help score the last touchdown. I thought he was great too.
Thanks for the call,
I really
Linda.
Enjoyed that.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Some good points there from Linda. That Marion kickoff return was a game changer because I felt like there was a little Wyoming hope there at halftime that just got completely squashed on that kickoff return. And then I liked seeing Gary too. Gary looked good. Shout out to the coaching staff for letting him throw the ball. It was nice to see him run the offense rather than just hand it off the whole time. So that was nice as well, Mitch.
News, traffic, and weather coming up next. More Cougar Nation as we break down what's trending up and trending down with BYU football. And we'll also preview BYU Kansas State. 801-575-8255. Call in or text us. We're answering your calls up till 7 o'clock.
6:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. KSL's top local story this hour. The state elections office has identified discrepancies in the new voting system used in Utah County.
A report from the Lieutenant Governor's office reveals that the FastCast system, which allowed voters to fill out ballots at home and submit them at polling locations in Utah County, resulted in at least 19 more ballots being cast than there were registered voters. The report indicates that the system lacked crucial statutory controls, potentially enabling fraudulent or unauthorized voting. Utah County Clerk Aaron Davison shared why he thinks the errors occurred.
I guess our training didn't quite didn't settle with the person setting it up properly.
Elections Director Shelley Jackson noted that while there is no concrete evidence of fraud, it cannot be ruled out. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Homes and businesses east of Houston have been evacuated as firefighters try and contain a pipeline fire that's been burning for hours. Deer Park Mayor Jerry Mouton says the liquid natural gas has been shut off.
Line is just going to have to burn off. They've shut the pipeline down, and until all the product that's in that pipeline burns off, it will be hours.
Rough night in that suburb. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined. Coming up, colder weather ahead, and it's going to be wetter too. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 6:31.
For over 133 years, Central Bank has been a cornerstone of Utah County, providing generations of families and businesses with trusted community banking services, and are more than just a bank. Central Bank is part of Utah's legacy. With 12 convenient locations across Utah County, Central Bank combines the strength of traditional customer service with the convenience of modern technology. Customized one-to-one service means you're never just another account number, and your phone call actually rings to a real person.
Hi there, thanks for calling Central Bank.
Voted best bank and best mortgage in Utah Valley, Central Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs. From top SBA lending services for small businesses and quick turnaround times on construction loans. They're dedicated to helping you build your future. Whether you're cheering for the Cougars or building your dream home, trust the bank that's been here since the beginning. Central Bank, strong, local, secure, since 1891. Online at cbutah.com or any of 12 Utah County locations. Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I'm Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson. You deserve a county government that protects your tax dollars. That's why every budget passed while I've been mayor has been balanced and earned bipartisan support. We've even protected the county's elite AAA bond rating, which saves you money. As your county mayor, I'm trying to make things a little easier for you and your family. We've got more difficult choices ahead of us, but I promise I'll never stop fighting for Salt Lake County families. Go to wilsonformayor.com to learn more. Paid for by Wilson for Mayor.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I am listening for the traffic. I'll always know if somebody's going to be late to work. That's often what's on when I'm driving.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Delays continue pretty solid in Summit County northbound Highway 40 to get to the I-80 junction here in the valley. We have cleared out of all delays. That's on all the valley freeways, but we still have the final cleanup of a crash northbound I-15 in Draper. This accident is at 123rd South on the left, and the final cleanup of a crash Foothill Drive, 1700 South. Good news for drivers on I-80. Restrictions have been lifted both directions between Lake Point and Wendover. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL weather forecast: showers should roll in during the overnight hours. They'll last into the morning rush and a little beyond. It's possible we'll see afternoon showers, but tomorrow's high only 67 degrees. 79 in Salt Lake City with a breeze. I'm Jeff Kaplan. KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Be ready for BYU Game Day. Download the KSL News Radio app to stream BYU games, plus breaking news during the week. That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into Cougar Nation. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. BYU 3-0 on the season, and our question of the day today: what gives you confidence this year's 3-0 start for BYU football will lead to more success in Big 12 play? Because remember, last year BYU was 3-0 after that win over Arkansas. They took down Sam Houston, Southern Utah. And they were riding high. They were knocking on the door of being ranked. And then we know what happened. They ended up 5-7, 2-7 in Big 12 play. The only wins were against Cincinnati, who finished in last place, and then Texas Tech, who had their third-string quarterback. It was not good last year. So we're answering the question, and we want to hear from you. 801-575-8255. What gives you confidence this year's 3-0 start will lead to more success in Big 12 play?
I'll tell you what, a win against Kansas State or even a Oklahoma State type loss from last year, that would give me more confidence than anything I've seen through the first 3 games this year.
Chase Roberts, he feels like there's a big difference between last year's team and this one.
I think the camaraderie that we have as a team, I think other players would say the same thing. Last year when we were in tight situations, we were trying to do more than, we just trust each other, trust the guy next to you, love each other, grab hold and play hard. And I think last year we lacked a little bit of that. This year we love each other, and we're gonna play for each other. And every time offense does something, defense comes and supports us and says, let's go. And every time we're struggling, the defense is going to come and say something, and vice versa. So I think it's just the trust that we have in each other and how much we love each other.
Chase Roberts is an absolute baller, might I add.
Oh, yeah.
6 catches, 129 yards, 8 targets in the game. I loved how Retzlaff was working in Roberts early and often. You know, Matt, I had some questions about this receiver unit, not from the talent. That was always known. The depth was always known. But I wondered who was going to emerge as that wide receiver one. This show and Cougar Sports Saturday, noon to 3 on Saturdays, we've always said it's Chase, but would he, produce like a wide receiver one? We're seeing it because he's outstanding through the early part of the season.
And I like that Jake is targeting him. I think that's something any good quarterback, you need to identify your weapons and you need to get them the football as much as you can. And I like that Jake is targeting him at a high level, and that needs to continue. There needs to be plays run for Chase. You need to get Chase the ball as often as you can. And Chase has proven himself, Mitch, to be a very good contested catcher of the football. Several of those grabs against Wyoming were very difficult catches that he came down with. So Chase is playing at a high level. This passing game, like we said earlier, it's improving, and that does give hope that things could be different in Big 12 play this year.
I thought it was interesting, too, when Chase, after that trick play, comes up with the grab, the 30-yarder. He stands over the Wyoming DB. Instantly, you could tell Kalani was not happy with that. Like, don't get a flag. And Chase even admitted it was funny in the postgame. He said something to the effect of, I was trying to come up with something creative to trash talk because that guy was trash talking, and then I couldn't think of anything creative, so I just stood over him. I was like, I love how honest that was, because typically most football players would not admit that. It's like, yeah, I was jawing back and forth and saying this, but Chase is like, I didn't know what to say, so I just stood over him.
What do you think of this? Texter 4888. And you can text us at 57500, your thoughts on the game and the question of the day. If you don't want to call in, we'll take your calls. We love hearing from you over the phone line, Cougar Nation, but text is great too. Defense makes me more confident. That's great. But this next part of the text, I feel like, why are we doing this as a fan base still? Bohannon should start. He can run better, and he has better throwing, and he doesn't turn it over. He's thrown 3 passes. He was 3 of 3. His quarterback rating was outstanding at 175.
Throw was the best throw I've seen from Gary Bohannon since he arrived on campus. I'm not even kidding. That was a legit throw. Like, you knew when he got the call to throw it, he's like, I'm going to make this look as sweet as possible.
The best throw of the day, without a doubt, and this is why I think Jake is a better quarterback when he's taking care of the football, is when he eluded the sack in the red zone, stepped up in the pocket, and delivered a dart to Darius Lassiter. That's the difference between the two. Gary might be a better runner, but Jake still had 6 for 62. He averaged 10 yards a carry.
And he would have had over 100 had it not been for the holding penalties late in the game.
He's more than adequate in the running game. He's underrated with his legs. His ability to make special plays off script, now, that gets him in trouble a lot too. I'm not saying he's perfect in that regard, but that throw on the run to a Lassiter touchdown, that was a perfect ball. I just can't believe we're still saying that Bohannon should start. Like, I'm not against it if Jake's played well.
I just think those near interceptions are where Cougar Nation
But
feels.
they're near. They're not.
I know, but I think a lot of people are projecting and assuming.
Would you like it if a car insurance company dinged you for your near accidents? Because we've all had many a near accident. No.
As someone who got a speeding ticket going to Laramie this past weekend,
you deserved it.
Yeah, I probably did. I'm not going to disclose with the speed I was going, but I was going a little bit too fast in my rental car. I didn't understand the cadence of the speed of that truck. But, I would hope that they would just assume, like, hey, I'm going to let this one slide. But the thing is that I think a lot of Cougar fans are going, we've seen how BYU stacks up in the Big 12. It is a big jump in talent from the Wyomings and Southern Illinois. we saw a glimpse against SMU, and he struggled. It's that SMU game, not the Wyoming game. And BYU fans, I think, are projecting and saying, this is what it's going to be week after week in the Big 12. I disagree. I think that Jake still should be the QB1, and I don't think there should be this debate of who's QB1. That's why in the press conference, I didn't feel it was necessary to ask Kalani, what are you going to do at quarterback this week? It's on a story.
No.
Because it is Jake's job. But if he has a SMU-like performance again, where he's coughing it up and he's causing disastrous INTs again and losing the football when he runs, then yeah, you got to put in Bohannon for that game.
For sure.
But, no, Jake Retzlaff has got to be the guy right now. I mean, he's done enough. You're 3-0. And you got to give him credit. Even that SMU game, he did enough in that game-winning drive to audible out of the play, pitch to Miles Davis. He's done a nice job. And I think we can all agree, yes, he's got some flaws, but he's gotten a lot better. And I think his arm talent has been a lot more impressive this year than what I maybe expected coming in. John Beck, the work he does on quarterbacks, it's noticeable. He looks much improved throwing the football, a lot more power behind his throws. And I think people got to give Jake some credit on that front.
Can we just pump the brakes a little bit, though, on the constant nagging on the starting quarterback?
Hey,
because
it's fun though.
No
it is
haze.
Fun. BYU has a high standard of quarterback.
This is becoming a joke. That it doesn't matter what year it is. I vividly remember, Mitch. Vividly remember, and tell me if you remember this too. Fans were wanting Taysom Hill benched in that 2013 year for McCoy Hill. Like, it's every year. This fan base is infatuated with the backup quarterback. Like, we got to stop. At some point, we got to just support the guy. And Jake has done nothing to suggest that he can't get you to a bowl game. His numbers are pretty good. He's on pace for like over 3,000 yards and almost 30 touchdowns, and yet we still get texts about the backup. Like, we're 3-0. I just like, at some point we got to put a little support behind the guy that is starting. It just feels like it's a decades-long issue with Cougar Nation, where he just loved that backup, baby.
Yeah,
and it's getting old.
When you mentioned Taysom, people wanting Taysom bench, I think back to 2016 when it was Tanner Mangum. I remember it was after the UCLA game that season. I think I wrote a column. You could probably go search it. I said, Taysom needs to stay the starter, no questions asked. But there was a vocal minority, very small, that wanted Tanner at that time. Clearly that was...
You named the quarterback with very few
people
exceptions.
wanted Zach benched.
Yeah, people wanted Zach benched.
Jaron Hall, I don't think he ever...
wanted...
There was never any calls for Jaron, don't you think?
No,
I don't recall that.
I don't either. He wanted, so Jaron was one. I think Max Hall, there wasn't a lot of...
Yeah, no.
But most years, you could point to someone in the shadows as being someone that a fraction of the fan base wanted.
I will say, and I think that the one argument to that is that I think Cougar fans do not want to experience the 2012, potentially, where you go maybe at season's in and at some point you do see Gary and he looks lights out.
2000. I mean, you picked a great quarterback to bring up too, because people want to Riley out.
That's what I'm saying. And look, it's just because that season, if you had some efficient offense, you probably win 10, 11 games. You probably beat Notre Dame, who played in the national
Riley
title.
broke his back at the beginning of the year.
And James Lark looked pretty dang good.
Taysom Hill would have led them to some wins if we didn't egregiously have what should have been a victory formation at the end of the Hawaii game turned into a knee injury.
Central Bank voted best bank and mortgage in Utah Valley. Visit us online at cbutah.com. Central Bank, proud sponsors of Cougar Nation. Taking the break. On the other side, we will get to more of your calls and texts. Keep those coming in, 57500, 801-575-8255. We'll preview BYU K-State next here on Cougar Nation.
At Gillette Services, you're more than just a customer. You're family. We pride ourselves on delivering exceptional HVAC and plumbing services with a personal touch. Whether it's a routine checkup or an emergency, we're here for you. Get a $49 tune-up for the first 50 callers. Call 385-GET-HEAT today. That's 385-438-4328 today.
A Carrier Factory authorized dealer.
Don't miss Utah Symphony's annual Celebración Sinfónica Festival at Marisa Bravanel Hall. September 27th and 28th, experience a lively concert celebrating Latin American and Spanish cultures. And on Saturday the 28th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., stop by the plaza to find artisan crafts, grab a bite from local food vendors, watch talented dancers perform, and more. Tickets start at just $10. Visit utahsymphony.org/festival for details.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son, and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official, he'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Key stories are changing by the day.
The air was unhealthy up and down the state.
It's going to cost a lot more to keep the homeless warm this winter.
Stories that affect family and community.
The whole state has absenteeism rates that are higher than average.
An appeal has already been filed to reinstate Amendment D.
When you're in the car, KSL has updated info on where stories are going and what's changed. Get important breaking news each time you jump in the car.
We have you covered
on KSL News Radio. Cougar fans, use this radio station tomorrow morning for important news updates. Listen to Utah's most important radio station tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Something about Cougar Nation, man. It always finds a way to get back to the quarterback position. And the texts are starting to flow a little bit. I want to hear someone, too, call in 801-575-8255. What is it about Jake that is hard to get behind? I want to know from a fan out there that still wants Bohannon, what is it about Jake? Because we're getting some texts. There's still a fraction of the fan base that wants Gary, Mitch. Texter 4633, I understand what you're saying about standing behind our quarterback, but if we had been playing a good team, there would have been at least 3 interceptions. That may be true, but you're 3-0.
Well, we will find out this week.
Yes.
We will find
so
out
what
this
happens if he throws 2 picks, but you win against Kansas State? Is it going to be the turnovers is still a problem? Or are we going to say you just took down a top – like the result is what we're all after here, ultimately. We're talking about wins and losses, Mitch. Yep. And he's 3-0.
Yep. I agree.
He's improved. Is he Steve Young? Is he Jim McMahon? He's not. But that's okay. Like you're winning some football games. For heaven's sakes. I'm just like, it's not like we're 0-3. That'd be different.
Even the TV announcers, though, were adding gasoline to the anti-Retzlaff crowd where Another interception. It was almost like
the first big. He's got 9 turnovers in his first 7 starts. How much longer can it go on? Taking the break on CBS Sports.
Yeah, I thought Carter Blackburn and Randy Cross were just dousing the gas. Like, please keep watching this game. We're going to add this quarterback controversy. Hey, Texter 3324. Hi, Mitch and Matt. Well, hello, 3324. What gives me confidence in BYU's 3-0 start is that the defense is solid this year, and it will keep BYU in any game. The offense is still up and down, but has more big play ability than last year. Also, BYU has more depth this year and better team leadership. Go Cougs. Thanks. Thanks, 3324. Appreciate that.
Some good points in there. The leadership, I think that's tangible just by the nature of better chemistry and better continuity. I think there is more depth. Defensively, that is far and away the brightest spotlight on this program right now. This defense has taken leaps and bounds. We've talked about this before, Mitch, but it bears repeating. Last year, the offense was so bad in so many categories that you almost swept the defense and their poor play under the rug. Yep. Because the defense wasn't very good last year. They were, in some respects, just as bad as the year before. They fired someone over how bad that defense was. Mm-hmm. Now, I think we all understood, Cougar Nation and BYU fans, his first year with Jay Hill, he's getting his recruiting up and going, he's implementing his scheme, no need to panic. But last year's defense was bad. It was not a good defense. And when you have a bad defense and a bad offense, you're not going bowling. And that's what happened in 2023. This year, though, Mitch, this defense, man, they hold Wyoming to what, 200 and some odd yards, 217, 77 rush yards. They did okay on third down. Could have been better in that regard. Red zone, they did give up 2 touchdowns in the red zone on 2 trips from Wyoming. That's not ideal. Not as good as it was against SMU. But, man, this defense is much better. The top-end talent is playing at a high level. Tyler Batty, he's playing like a first-team Big 12 player. Jacob Robinson, I think he's playing near or at first-team level. Jack Kelly also in the mix there. When you got a dude at every level playing all-conference football, you're a dang good defense, and I love that point that this defense is going to put you in position to be in a lot of football games.
Texter 3926, why did they call so many run plays when every running quarterback has never made it through a full season without getting injured? Well, your running back depth chart was Miles Davis, who had nowhere near the success he did against Wyoming 2 years ago. Sione Aimoa, who you knew if you were listening to us throughout Cougar Sports Saturday and our fall camp reports. And then Pokai Honga. That was your running backs. And I would probably guess, Matt, a lot of Cougar Nation did not know those guys until probably game day. So you're probably going to turn to a guy that in Retzlaff who can run the football. And if you don't want an injury to happen, and I understand that, but there's also that peace of mind that you do feel like you've got a lot more options at quarterback, and you got to have another number to account for on the opposing defenses. So I think they're still going to be selective with Jake going forward, but there was opportunities in Wyoming's defense where they wanted to take advantage. I think this week against K-State, kickoff at 8:30 here on KSL and ESPN, they're going to be a little more selective, but if the moment an opportunity poses itself, they're going to turn to Jake and let him run. They cannot be afraid of thinking someone's going to get hurt. They got to just let him loose and play freely.
801-525. Wait, I think I got the number wrong, Mitch. 801-575-8255. What is holding you back from getting on the Jake Retzlaff bandwagon? I want to hear a Cougar fan call in and give me a good reason. Someone did text in, shared some thoughts, 3091. You guys got to pump the brakes on Retzlaff. Okay, first off, it's me. I'm the one who's defending Retzlaff at a higher clip than Mitch, so don't get on Mitch here, but he refuses to set his 3 feet to throw. He throws a 5-yard pass, 90 miles an hour. Throw a catchable ball. Also, the schedule's been terrible. SMU is much worse than I expected. Wyoming might be the worst in the FBS. When he turns it over 3 times in each of the next few games, what will you say then? Well, if he turns it over 3 times in the next few games, then
he's getting benched.
Then he's getting benched, and let's go to Gary. I'm not saying he has a license to play regardless of his performance. That's not the argument. And Aaron Roderick said that a few weeks ago, Mitch, that nobody on this team has a license to just make mistakes. What I am saying, though, is if you're winning games, you need to show some respect because at the end of the day, you're about winning football games. He's 3-0, and yeah, the schedule has not been great. I get that. But he has shown improvement, and at the end of the day, it's that experience you noted at Laramie that I think bothers me a little bit, where Jake almost throws for 300 yards, multiple touchdowns, running the ball. He looked very good. It's not the best performance we've ever seen from a BYU quarterback. I'm not saying that. But nothing in that performance made you feel like at any moment the train's going to come off the track, so we need the next guy to be ready. And yet when the next guy came in, there's a celebration like, see? This is who we wanted all along. The starter's a bum. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think fan bases need to cut out. So just give Jake his kudos when he plays well, because it just feels like it's always, he's throwing a 5-yard dart 80 miles an hour. He threw that one pick. What about all the great plays he made, too? Because he converted a great fourth down in a tight window to Keanu Hill, threw the great touchdown pass to Darius Lassiter. What about all that? We're just going to sweep that away because there was a couple bad plays? It's like, come on. Jake's played good football. Has he played great football? No. But he's played good football, and the dude deserves some props for that.
And if he plays good football this week, I think that silences a lot of people because Kansas State, number 14 in the country, or number 13, in the AP Top 25 poll, undefeated team, one of the preseason favorites in the Big 12 Conference. But at the same time, if he struggles completely and looks out of place, make the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. It's like, I think
you're not married to
even
him,
though
game
it's
in and game out.
Even though it's, yes, the opponents have been weak, Wyoming and Southern Illinois in particular. But the great thing about being in a power league now is that you will get a true sense of what these guys are. And in Jake, if he struggles completely at Kansas State, looks outmatched, got to turn to Gary. And I think the staff will do that. I think the staff will do it.
I agree. And let's not pretend, too, that there's been opponents in past years where the BYU quarterback play was suspect and they lost. What were we doing then when Baylor Romney and Jaron Hall lost to South Florida down in Tampa a couple years ago? That team was no good. What about the home losses against Northern Illinois and UMass? You can't just say – you can't pick and choose, Mitch, in arguments, the schedule's soft. Yeah. The schedule's been soft in other years, and we've lost those football games. Yep. Did we demand for Zach in, 2018 to be benched?
We sat through 14-0 last year against Sam Houston, who was terrible last season. 14-0.
What about 2019 when Zach couldn't move the ball against San Diego State? Were we demanding him to be benched then? It's college football. There's ebbs and flows, but if you're winning games, that's where the focus should be. And BYU's 3-0.
And that's all you can ask for. And I think there's a new appreciation for, wins.
Yeah.
After going through 5 and 7, there should be a new appreciation for wins. And BYU's got their toughest test to date this season, Saturday night against number 13 Kansas State. 8:30 kick inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. We will have you covered with Cougar Sports Saturday from noon to 3, and then kickoff at 8:30, pregame at 6:30. Right here on KSL.
Quick thoughts on the matchup. Do you think BYU's got a chance?
I do. I think they've got a great chance. I think this is going to be a game that comes down right to the wire. Late night magic's going to happen for BYU potentially.
It's a great kick spot for BYU. 8:30. They're good in those night games, so we'll have you covered, and we'll have you all the way up to BYU and Kansas State right here on KSL News Radio, your legacy home of the BYU Cougars. For Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte, have a great night.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It is 7 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Mark Jackson. KSL's top story tonight. The weather's been a bit unsettled, if you noticed. Warm and blustery for the ride back home from work this afternoon. KSL meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke tells us as this front passes through tonight, chances of pop-up storms remain with us ahead of a big cool down.
We could even have some showers rolling through overnight tonight. So that's because of a cold front coming in. The only difference tomorrow will be it'll be a lot cooler. Our high only 67 degrees tomorrow afternoon.
Warmer and drier, says Kristen, on Wednesday. On the roads, UDOT says high-profile vehicles have been restricted from travel between Wendover and Lake Point until further notice. And our top national stories, the struggling Seattle-based Boeing. It's freezing hiring and weighing temporary furloughs to cut costs as a crippling strike by more than 30,000 workers entered its fourth day today. The strike, with 96% union support, has happened as production of the company's 737 series is halted. Talks resume tomorrow. During National Hispanic Heritage Month, Kim Gardner Institute research finds that 1 in every 10 Utahns is Mexican.
We always hope that we take this information and have them make informed decisions. Without this work, the state can't properly plan and account for the future. We just hope to shed light on different aspects of the Utah population, whether it be a growing or diversifying and changing demographic profile.
Well, the month-long observance celebrates the contributions and influence of Hispanic Americans. And in KS